Okay, so now we are starting the revision of chapter 4, that is Set Our Children Free. Here, everything is said by Kailash Satyarthi. Your Majesties, your Royal Majesties, Royal Highnesses, my dear daughter Malala, dear brother Tom Harkin, and my sisters and brothers. This is the address of the speech. Friends, the Nobel Committee has generously invited me to present a lecture. Respectfully, I am unable to do that. He was introducing himself and he was telling the purpose why he was there. Because I'm representing here the sound of silence, the cry of innocence, and the face of invisibility, means the topic for which he had been called there to speak. There is silence in that, there is innocence, and it is invisible. So how he can speak about such things? Means here he means that such things are being ignored. I represent millions of those children who are left behind, and that's why I have kept an empty chair here as a reminder. I have come here only to share the voices and dreams of our children, because they all are our children. So he was considering all the children as their own children, and he was there to raise a voice for them, to make them people aware about the difficulties, about the deprived, what such children are deprived of, the things, to make the people aware of those things. 20 years back, in the foothills of Himalayas, I met a small, skinny child laborer. He asked me, is the world so poor that it cannot give me a toy and a book instead of forcing me to take a gun or a tool? This was really a very tough question, where really a thought provoking question, that a child is asking such things, because the child can see the things around him, that how the people are doing, how the rich ones are enjoying their life, and how they are living in this world, and what was his condition. So he was asking that there is no money in the world, that he was working as a child, he was working and he could not have a toy or a book. Friends, all the great religion teach us to care for our children, definitely. Jesus said, let the children come to me, do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to them. Even in very at various other places, we also say, consider the child as the form of God. The Holy Quran says, kill not your children because of poverty. Friends, there is no great violence than to deny the dreams of our children. Here he is saying that if you are not able to fulfill the dreams of a child, then there is no violence that is greater than that. Therefore, I refuse to accept that all the temples and mosques and churches and prayers house have no place for the dreams of our children. I refuse to accept that the world is so poor when just 1 week of global military expenditure can bring all the children to classroom. Military expenditures are very, very large, a huge amount. So that can bring a number of children to the classroom. If the same amount of money is will be used for this purpose, for educating the children, for providing them what is actually their right, instead of forcing them to do the labor. I refuse to accept that all the laws and constitutions, police and judges are unable to protect our children. Here, the speaker Kailash Satyarthi wants to say that if we try, or if we put up the efforts, it is not impossible to fulfill the dream of all the children. I refuse to accept that the shackles of slavery can ever be stronger than the quest of freedom. Means the desire, the thing to have the freedom, the search for freedom uh, cannot be less than the labor. The desire, the search for freedom is definitely greater than put those children into the labor. I refuse to accept. He strongly, determinantly said these words that I refuse to accept. He is not accepting all those things. What he mentioned here, that if we will do all these things, we can bring the change into the lives of those children up to a great extent. My only aim in life is that every child is free to be a child. Free to be a child means he should live the life like a child, like not a laborer. Free to grow and develop, free to eat, sleep, and see daylight, free to laugh and cry, free to play and learn, free to go to school, and above all, free to dream. Free to dream means to fulfill, to accomplish his desires, what they actually want to do, what they actually dreamed of being. I have the privilege of working with many courageous people who have the same aim. We have never given up against any threat or attack, and we never will. He said that many people are there who think in the same way as he was thinking, and they all are very much determined about this thing, that to bring up all the children to a certain level so that they all can live like a child, and they will not step back because of any fear or any attack. We have made progress in the last couple of decades, but let us make no mistake, great challenges still remain. Here he is saying that in the past 2 decades, we have made a number of progress. We have developed a number of things in terms of economy, in terms of technology, everywhere, but still we have certain great challenges which are not accomplished. They are still ahead of ahead of us as a challenge. What are they? Friends, the biggest challenge or biggest crisis knocking on the doors of humankind is fear and intolerance. Rights, security, and hope can only be restored through education. What is the biggest challenge? It is the fear and intolerance. And how can we overcome? How can we face this challenge? Or how can we overcome this crisis? That is the only way possible is the education. Young people like Malala, all of you must have heard about Malala. I have started calling her my daughter Malala, not just Malala. So, my daughter Malala and other daughters, including Kainat, and in fact, two Kainats and Shazia, and the daughters from Africa and from all over the world. They are rising up and choosing over violence, tolerance, they are rising up and choosing peace over violence, tolerance over extremism, and courage over fear. Means they are from such a section of society where the children, especially the girl child, do not have so much rights. They do not have the freedom to speak, but they are coming up facing all the challenges, and here they are. And what are their ways of doing this? This is the peace, the tolerance, and the courage. Using these as the weapons, they are facing the challenges that are put ahead them by the world. The solution are emerging. People are also finding the solution of such problems because now the voice is raised against such practices. But these solutions cannot be found in the deliberations and conferences alone. But what is the problem? What is the thing with the solution? If we have the solution of anything, we have to implement that, not only in the We only the discussion in the conferences about such thing is not going to help us in any way to improve the situation, and cannot be found in prescriptions from a distance. Means the recommendations, the suggestions, the discussions, the meetings, the conferences are not going to help this. We have to come up to the reality, to the practical ground. You may ask that what can one person do? I would recall a story of my childhood. Here, you need to notice all the stories that are given here. Like in the Himalayas, the boy asked the question there, the question that is there not enough money in the world to give him a toy or a book. So the multiple choice questions can be based on these stories also. Okay, or what is the solution of the problem, or what is the biggest challenge, or what is the biggest crisis, the name of the girls that are mentioned here, all these can be your multiple choice questions. So read the things carefully. Now, I would recall a story of my childhood. A heavy fire had broken out in the forest. All the animals were running away, including the lion, the king of the forest. Suddenly, he saw a tiny bird rushing towards the fire. He asked the bird, what are you doing? To the lion's surprise, the bird replied, I'm going to extinguish the fire. Now, is it possible for a bird to do? So, what is the story next? The lion laughed and said, "Wow, can you do it keeping just one drop of water in your beak?" The bird was adamant and she said, "I'm doing my bit." Means the question is here, there are a number of children in the world who are not living the life of a child actually, who are not getting what a child should get. So here the speaker is asking to take an action to improve their condition. But if the people will ask the question, what one person can do? Suppose if it is asked to me only, or if it is asked to you, you will say, what can I do? Because there are so many poor children, there are so many children who are not living a life like a children, what can I do? So means you cannot help a number of children, but you can do your bit, whatever you can do. This is the uh, essence of this story, that there was a fire in the jungle and all the animals were running away, while a bird having a drop of water in her beak was going towards the jungle. And when the lion asked her, why are you doing so, she was saying, I'm doing my bit. She said that I'm doing whatever I can do. Okay. Or in Hindi you must have learned many proverbs about this, like बूंद बूंद करके घड़ा भरता है, and so many things, that it is not necessary that you will do all at once. You can do your bit, and if everyone will think so, everyone will do a little bit, then that will make a significant change. So friends, we live an age of rapid globalization. We are connected through high speed internet. We exchange our goods and services in one single global market. Thousands of flights every day connect us from one corner to another corner of the globe, but there is one serious disconnect, and that is lack of compassion. Lack of compassion means your wish, your will to do this thing. We are so advanced that we are using the internet, we are using the flight. It's very easy to communicate with the people who are at thousand kilometers away from us, or to reach at such a place it hardly takes time. But the disconnect for this thing to make the development in such field is still lacking. The thought of that, let us inculcate means develop and transform these individuals compassion into a global compassion. So let us globalize compassion. Means if only I'm thinking, I feel sorry for them. If you see a child labor and you feel sorry for that particular child, oh, so poor at such a tender age, he is working or she is working. So somewhere we have the compassion, but again we don't do anything for them. Why? Because it is not going to make a significant change to their life. Or we think, what we can do, we cannot get him admitted to a school, or we cannot give him a good life. So if this little compassion of everyone will be put together, or we will globalize this compassion, then it will definitely going to make a difference. Mahatma Gandhi said, if we are to reach real peace in this world, we shall have to begin with children. I humbly add, let us unite the world through compassion for our children. Means we should not consider them as children only, we should consider them as our children. They are our. I ask, whose children are they who stitch footballs yet have never played with one? Whose children are they who harvest cocoa yet have never tasted chocolate? Whose children are they who are dying of Ebola? Whose children are they who are kidnapped and held hostage? They all are our children.